Hello and welcome to Contain Mild Peril, the weekly podcast where we talk about all things film, and I find I need a more succinct introduction if I'm going to keep doing it.
You reckon?
Yeah. Anyway, my name's Jack Shepherd, and with me this week is my co-host Arun.
How's it going?
It's going alright, you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just trying to think of new ways to introduce. Do you mean a sort of tagline?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a, I don't know, more succinct way of introducing.
Welcome to Contain Mild Peril. The movie pod. No, never mind.
No, I don't think of.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
We should have thought about this before we hit record.
I think perhaps we should have a sign off as well.
A sign?
Like a sign off. Like a cool catchphrase.
Oh, yeah. And as always, folks, like,
Yeah. We'll have to see if anything comes up over the course of the podcast.
Keep posting to your Letterboxd diaries.
Very succinct. And, I don't think Cameron's even watching this. He's abandoned us forever.
Yeah.
Right, so how was your week?
Yeah, no, it's not too bad actually. I was able to sort of watch a lot more films.
You went to like a exclusive preview.
I did, yeah.
Was it a premiere?
Yeah.
Was
No, it wasn't a premiere, no. Yeah, Borg McEnroe on Tuesday. And it was not. It was in Wimbledon, fittingly. And it was all centred around the Wimbledon final.
Oh, yeah.
My little brother said to me before, like, you know what they should have done? I was like, oh, what should they have done? And, they should have actually shown the film in centre court at Wimbledon. And I was just like, I didn't really know what to say. I was like, yes,
well,
okay.
It's inconvenient. None of the chairs are facing the same direction.
I mean, they could have closed off half the stadium and had like a massive screen. Or, shown it on the floor on the tennis court so you would look down into it.
Kevin Spacey did a in the round fear production in where the US Open's held.
Oh, really?
Like their sort of equivalent.
The US Open's been known for sort of innovating in that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, I
think they've done like music experiments and stuff.
I think
like
this was their first theatre production. But it was like, I'm not sure it's like a 20,000 seat stadium. Yeah. And they like closed off a bit. I
mean, it would have been a good idea, but also it wasn't actually that good, which is a problem.
So what do you think the best tennis movie is then? What should they have shown on the...
Well, apparently the one coming out with Emma Stone and Steve Carell.
That's going to be quite good.
What's it called?
Battle of the Sexes.
That's it, Battle of the Sexes. Yeah.
But do you know the story behind that?
Yes, I do know, yes.
Because that's quite fun in itself. Just this sexist guy keeps...
I wasn't sure if it was true.
No,
it is true.
They did 3 matches, not with 3 different women.
Yeah. And he beat both of them.
Yeah, and this was the one that he lost to.
I think, yeah. I'm a big fan of the directors of Valerie Faris. That's the other guy. He did Love with Sunshine.
Yeah,
Love with Sunshine is fantastic.
It's good, but it doesn't look...
I mean, it's not earth-shattering.
It just looks like a fun film.
Match Point's up there with some of the best tennis movies. Woody Allen's Match Point.
Not sure I've seen that.
What about Scarlett Johansson?
What about Wimbledon? With
no.
Is it Kirsten Dunst? No.
Match Point is really good. I mean, it's not really about tennis in the same way that, Annie Hall is about comedy. I mean, it's just how it happens to be the occupation of one of the people in the film.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any tennis movies I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one that immediately comes to mind, because that's one of those sort of like weird 21st century Woody Allen good movies, which are sort of like how they sort of come out of nowhere in the 21st century.
It's got Hugh Jackman in it.
That's Scoop.
That's the magician.
That's Scoop.
One. Yeah.
Which I actually really like that.
I do know what one you're talking about now.
I really like that film. This is the one with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Alright. Yeah, I can't think of any tennis movies really that Wimbledon and that one were made around the same year. Maybe the same year.
There's a piece that the Guardian wrote a while ago about have we reached? Are they finally going to get a good tennis movie? Because apparently there's not really been one yet.
No.
And these two were supposed to sort of.
Well, they said that about video game movies and the 2 that came out last year, and they were both crap. So.
I've heard people say that Scott Pilgrim is the best video game movie of all time.
Or Baby Driver. Yeah.
Which it isn't.
And neither is Scott Pilgrim.
No.
Yeah.
I can see how it is. I said to my brother, who watched Baby Driver separately to me, that it's very similar to like a comic book. Like Edgar Wright's style as a director is very similar to a comic book style because if you read comics and you see how the action moves from panel to panel, particularly in action sequences, where movement is emphasised across different panels and sequences. That is exactly how Edgar Wright's movies seem to work.
Yeah.
And how he conveys action. It's done very sort of quickly and like exaggerated.
I was waiting for that opportunity to go off for ages.
Yeah.
I'll cut that out.
What's wrong with you? You got a cold?
I had a biscuit before I left.
A biscuit?
I think something got caught. It was a hot dog.
Flu biscuit.
No, I think something got like caught down the back of my throat and just. I'll cough it a bit and like a bit of biscuit will just fly out. I know.
Oh dear. Oh god. Move away.
Right. Shall we actually get on with the show then? After that 5-minute conversation about tennis.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, right. So, what have you seen this week?
Should we start from Mother on Friday because we went immediately after the.
Yeah, we recorded last week's podcast on Friday, and immediately afterwards we went to see Mother.
Yeah,
and we won't do a full review. Should we just?
No, I mean we couldn't. What did you think of it?
I kind of have no opinion. I thought
that's interesting. Because everyone has an opinion on this movie.
I thought kind of like on one hand I kind of right. So one thing I will say in favour of the film is that Aronofsky is clearly a very talented filmmaker, and although a lot of this film sort of disgusted me, and I don't like it, and I don't like what he was trying to do about very sort of self-congratulatory.
What do you think he was trying to do?
I think he was trying to do a number of things, but I'll just say this: that like despite all of that, he still put together a very well-made film. As for what I think he was trying to do, I think he was trying to tell a story about himself in some respects and sort of try to put it in this sort of like biblical, I don't know what the word is, like biblical kind of
frame.
Kind of like mask in a way.
Yeah.
Trying to hide his true intentions behind this more obvious metaphor.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I don't know what it was trying to do, but I think that's also what's so good about it because one of the reviews I read was that it's plainly nuts, but it's never plainly dull, and that pretty much matches what I think about it. Because like it is mad, especially that third act, but I think I was reveling in how mad it was, and I was sort of loving how crazy it was, even if I wasn't fully understanding.
But then I found it hard to get on board with just like, because you never know quite what any of the characters are doing or why they're there.
I jumped straight on board. I think that mystery attracted me to it a little bit more. I think it withholds a lot of things. I mean, like the names of the characters, for example, him, her, man and woman.
But then that's not abnormal.
Okay, but it's not. But there's no context to much of it.
No, but that's what I.
But I think you realise that pretty quickly, and the like sort of abstract nature of the film, and then that's when you have a decision whether or not you're going to go with it and just be like, okay, fuck it, I'm going to just go see where this takes me, or you just want to be like, oh no, this is reject it.
But it sets up all these questions. Well, both in the trailer, it sets up that it's one sort of this film, and in the first two acts, it sort of continues that trope, and it sets up all these characters and all these unanswered questions. And in the third act it goes, forget about all that, that's not what's important. You can't set up these questions and these plot points and ignore them because you want to talk about something bigger.
Yeah, I think it leads up to it quite naturally.
It does.
What questions doesn't it answer from?
Why there's a fight between these two men? Like not the abstract bit, which is where it ends up going, but the sort of more realist things that it brings apart, like why is this man in particular here? What is his motive?
That is abstract.
And why is the woman so resentful of Jennifer Lawrence's character?
But I think that sort of is abstract.
Yeah, but it still doesn't answer the questions, does it?
Oh, I don't think it's meant to answer. I think it's meant to ask more questions than it answers.
But then that's not good storytelling.
You don't think so?
No. I think you need resolution and.
Do you?
Well, you need some sort of resolution, otherwise the film can go on forever. Otherwise, you can stop any film.
But this film does have a sort of ultimate resolution.
It does, but then you still have all these. It's kind of like Lost in that everyone hated Lost because it set up all these questions, and although the storyline did finish, it's still.
But I think you lose a lot. You lose a lot of the film when you start sort of trying to put it into boxes. I think it's more. I think it's as much a visceral experience as like an exercise in the limits of decency. Because there are things in there which are sort of really, like Jesus, did that just happen?
Yeah, but then. That's the thing. I feel Aaron Russell's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to make a thriller. He's trying to like entertain people. But at the same time, he's trying to.
I don't think he ever thought he was making a thriller.
But it is a thriller. It is. It's a horror thriller type.
But what is a typical thriller? What is a typical thriller?
It depends what you. There's no such thing as a typical thriller. Anyway, you're holding me on to the point, which is not what I'm trying to get to. What I'm trying to say is he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. Because on one hand, he's trying to exploit that, like how horrible he's trying to make an exploitation movie on one hand, and on the other hand he's trying to make a film to sort of entertain and ask these questions. And I feel he's not quite sure what he's getting.
It's sort of a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't agree, but no, maybe. I think it just sort of leaves a lot of. I think it's meant to be provocative, and like I think that's the reason why it's had such a divisive reaction to it. But I do think it does do some genuinely profound things. I don't think it wants to be considered in the terms that you're talking about it, as in a sort of director trying to.
It's not up to a director how his film's remembered. It's up to the audience.
No, I'm not saying how it's remembered, but how it's considered, and what it conveys. No, I mean if you're going to place constraints that the film does not belong in, like saying what. Because if you're gonna suppose that he's having his cake and eating it, then that's not. I don't think that's verified.
The film itself put those constraints in itself by portraying it in that way in the trailer and the marketing and in the.
The marketing is, but there's many cases.
There's
of marketing
no hints.
There's many cases of marketing.
Even in the first two acts, there's no hints of that actually happening.
What about the very first sequence of the film?
Yes, but that doesn't. That's
and the fact that continuously there's a beating heart in the house. I mean, it makes them explicit.
But I don't think that beating heart even makes sense once you know everything.
I don't think
we should go in this way because we end up talking spoilers.
Yeah,
I think we should stay away from that.
But what I really like is that this is a film that, regardless of what you think of it, has to be merited on the fact that we, as people who disagree, are able to talk about it and can discuss it at such length, in such detail. Because we have a strong feeling about it, and it's very rare that you get this. And this is what I said to you as soon as I got out of the film. So we both left and weren't entirely sure of what we thought. I mean, I don't know if you were, but I wasn't. I was just sort of like, well, this is. I need to sort of give me a beer, like.
I tell you what, I would never go back and see it again.
I don't know. I'm not really one to go and do that though. So I can't really answer that for myself. But I do think there's a lot it should be commended for with its ambition, scope. How Paramount are not scared to put budget behind that, which I imagine they're regretting at the moment because it's not done too well at the box office. But I do think it deserves to be praised for its just sheer sort of the cavalier attitude that Aronofsky was allowed to take towards his film. I think that is something that really is quite nice to see in from a major film, I think.
So do you want to talk about the box office then? Because that's
just about how badly it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't you think it's sort of quite obvious why it did so bad?
Oh, I do. I think it was a mistake from a studio point of view to fund a film like that. And I think
really?
Yeah.
Why? I think studios should fund.
It doesn't have an audience. What's its audience?
People, open-minded people.
Open-minded people.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, I think number one, the advertising campaign, because we spoke about it last week, is and still is pretty good. But
it's advertising a different film.
But how could it advertise that?
That's the thing. It's a film which is unmarketable, so it's not surprising that it hasn't made much money.
And Aronofsky's name doesn't have enough clout either. But I do think studios should continue to make these kind of movies because
I think they should. Yeah, but it doesn't surprise me that it's not making much money.
No, not at all. I mean, like, no, it's not. I mean, it's not a surprise at all. I just don't. It's just definitely. It's not because the thing is with other films that Aronofsky's made that are more sort of abstract, and the one that immediately comes to mind is Black Swan because it had a clear. It had a clear focus towards being a particular kind of film, and it had significant Oscar buzz. Which, looking back actually at Mother, I don't see how he could have thought that it had, or the producers could have thought that it had like a significant amount of Oscar and box office potential. Because number one, Jennifer Lawrence is good, but she's not that good. I mean, I don't know if you agree. I think she's serviceable in the role.
I think Javier Bardem is really good.
See, I think she was better than Javier Bardem.
See, I thought
Michelle Pfeiffer was the one who stole the show for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. But she's in it like so little, it doesn't really make much of an impact. I don't think.
You say who was it? Who was it recently in the Oscars who won supporting actor or actress? Who's in the film for like 20 minutes?
Anne Hathaway did for Les Mis.
Yeah, and Shakespeare.
Judi Dench for Shakespeare Now.
Yeah.
So yeah, she could still. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets a nomination or even wins. But I mean, watching the film, I was disappointed that she was in it.
Well, wait for our Oscar preview to bump a 3-hour episode. We break down every category. I'm talking like cinematographer, lighting. It's a 2-hour half-hour conversation. I really win best lighting.
What, sound mixing and sound?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you figured out the differences between them yet?
You know. We learn when we do this podcast. Yeah.
So we could just guess.
But I think, it's not really a surprise that it did that. It's just my mum wants to go see the film, and I went to see it before her, and she still wants to go and see it. She can find no one to go and see it with because why would someone like my mum, who is open-minded, but isn't sort of open-minded in a sort of cinematic sense? And if she does go and see a movie that is more obscure, it would be because there's a significant amount of momentum behind it, in the same way that many people went to go see La La Land and Moonlight because they had momentum behind them.
Yeah.
This is before the Oscars as well.
And I don't think Murray will get that sort of momentum.
Exactly. Because who is going to go away and see that film and be like, you have to see this film.
Yeah.
It's so divisive that and the fact that I'm saying to my mum, I'm not sure if you'd like it, and I'm someone who considers I enjoyed it a lot, says a lot about why the film was doing well, because just like you would, it's not. I really liked it, but I wouldn't go around recommending it.
Well, also I think forget about how divisive the film is, like just how controversial some of the themes are in it.
Exactly.
Things that happen.
Yeah.
I don't think the Academy would abide a film like that being nominated. It seemed
with respect to them, they have been more.
They have. I mean, they
audacious,
but they do still. I won't say they're all very traditional films, but they're all kind of very non-controversial.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because Moonlight's is a sort of, I don't know what you call it, like a minor subject. Is that the right word?
What do you mean?
Kind of like it's something which is not very talked about in the public consciousness.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a marginal. That's it. It's sort of a marginal subject, but it's still a non-controversial subject.
Yeah.
Like homosexuality is quite widely talked about. So it's still quite.
Yeah.
Whereas this is all very new and different.
But they can sort of go there, can't they?
Yeah.
I doubt they will. I just don't think the film's been as widely sort of. It's not. You can just see it now. It's not going to be nominated. But I'll be very surprised if it's nominated.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Michelle Pfeiffer gets nominated. Or like it wins an award here and there.
Yeah. There's a few down the line.
Anyway, shall we? What else have you been watching this week?
Let's take it. Should we take it in turns?
Yeah.
I wanted to just put a quick word in. It's not a movie, but I have been watching The Juice, which I'm sure you heard of. This new TV show, HBO TV show.
Is it what Juice is in, like orange juice?
The DEU.
Oh, the Juice.
David Simon who created The Wire. It's new HBO. James Franco is the main two characters. He plays twins, which I'm sure you'll love as the massive James Franco fan that you are.
Huge James Franco.
He's all right. I've read something quite interesting which said he's more of a sort of accommodator towards the other characters. He introduces the world to you rather than sort of being the focal point, which is probably true, I think. And it's about 1970s Times Square, which it realises was such seediness, and it's about the emergence of the porn industry in that time. Back again with the porn. But no, this is really, really good.
I'm looking forward to your... which there was segment called like Arun's porn
and Arun watching, no, but it's really, really good. Like, I mean, everything about this is just screams sort of HBO peak at its peak. I mean, everything's like realised so fantastically. The character's brilliant. Maggie Gyllenhaal's in it, and she's fantastic. I think we forget how good Maggie Gyllenhaal is because she just doesn't really. Why doesn't she? She's much.
I don't know. Is it humanitarian work or producing, or that's generally why someone won't act that much. It's like Tobey Maguire. He doesn't act that much, but then he produces a whole lot of stuff. But anyways, what else?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. So the second episode, but is
it a mini series or is it going to be? Like,
I think it's going to be continuous, and it's seen as quite feminist. It's a feminist look at sort of exploitation and like antagonisms between, the relationship between, for example, pimps and prostitutes, and that's really put under the microscope in a really sort of interesting way.
How many episodes is it?
I don't know, 10 maybe, I imagine.
Okay.
But this is a guy who wrote The Wire. What about you? What have you?
I watched Misery on Saturday.
Oh, did you like it?
I quite liked it. Everyone like. It's always been advertised to me as a horror film, but I'd say it's more sort of a thriller.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The two leads are amazing. James Caan and Kathy Bates are really good. But it's just kind of very kind of predictable.
Where does it sort of sit with Stephen King
adaptations?
Yeah.
Well,
first of all, what was your favourite Stephen King adaptation?
Well, definitely The Shawshank Redemption or The Green Mile. Basically, the ones that aren't horror.
Yeah. What about Stand By Me?
No, I wasn't too thrilled about Stand By Me.
That's probably my favourite.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't like it, but it didn't really stand out to me. Stand By Me, Shawshank Redemption, and At Pupil.
All in the same
book. Yeah.
There's a funny story of a critic talking to Stephen King, annoyed at Stephen King because he's written 55 novels, 55 novels, in 65 years of life.
Yeah.
I read he's a massive coke addict as well. He can't remember writing some of his books.
He's not now.
No. But
apparently he wrote it under a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, and
which if you know much about it, that doesn't seem surprising.
But he apparently was on some show, and some critic said to him like, "Oh, why can't you write more books like Stand By Me and The Shawshank Redemption?" And he just said like, "Oh, I did actually." Right, just shows how sort of versatile he is. Do you read much of him?
No, I've read Shawshank Redemption, and I started reading The Dark Tower, but kind of it's hard to get along with that one.
I just realised I've got 4 Stephen King books.
Yeah, I was looking at there.
I haven't read Black House.
Yeah, it is a lot like Stand By Me, but he's just got this very horror element to it as well.
Although I'm not sure if that's the same in the book.
I don't know, I haven't read the book, but it must be to some extent. Maybe not the bit where they all have an orgy, but
I got this is really sort of something that, because I went to sit with a friend.
Yeah.
And his mum had read the book, he'd seen the original. And his mum who'd read the book wasn't sure. What said there was no such thing as this orgy. And my friend was like, "Yeah, no, there definitely is."
Yeah.
And then what that led to was a massive argument, and then basically a spelling out of the reasoning about this orgy in the film. The book, sorry.
Don't they all have to have sex with the girl because for some weird reason?
Because it apparently initiates them into adulthood, which makes them invulnerable to.
Yeah.
But I think Stephen King. And there's a Stephen King Weekender on at the. I don't know if you know about this.
Yeah, when is it?
Tomorrow.
No, I won't be able to go to that.
You'll be too hungover. Watching Chucklevision.
It could go on Sunday. Anyway, this isn't good for podcast.
Yeah, no, sorry. But no, you just realise the sort of quantity, and yeah, definitely. So yeah, no, I do. That's cool. I haven't seen Busy. I haven't seen it.
I probably won't choose it to do a week on.
Yeah,
because it's pretty standard. But
that
was originally going to be. He's originally going to write it under his Richard Bartman, under that name, which is sort of like his non-horror books. But then he got found out that he was Richard Bartman and decided to release it under Stephen King anyway.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What made you watch it? So I'm interested. Like sort of out of all the Stephen
I was
King
in Sainsbury's and it was very cheap, so I thought I'd buy it and watch it.
Fair enough. I was gonna say it's a weird sort of Stephen King movie to pick out of the blue.
I would have watched it eventually anyway.
Yeah.
They had Carrie as well, but I thought I'm more in the mood for misery than
Carrie. Oh, by the way, actually, another thing about Stephen King, I guess, is that one of the reasons why I'm not happy with The Shining. I don't know if you know about this. You might do. But apparently, he thinks that Stanley Kubrick's film is misogynistic.
It is very misogynistic.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Which, you're right. It is. Yeah.
You know, he tortured. What's her name?
Who? Kubrick.
Yeah, the woman.
I don't know what her name is. Jesus.
Is it Duval or something?
Courtney Duval.
Something like that. But anyway, he tortured her on set, like he wouldn't.
Shelley Duval.
Yeah. He wouldn't let anyone talk to her. Like they had to ignore her. He just sort of like gave her commands and like wouldn't have any interaction with her. The scene, that It's Johnny scene.
Yeah.
That has got the most takes. It's the world record for most takes for a single scene. It was like 250.
Really?
And they just kept doing it, and so like her reaction is like genuine because she's just so sort of like So Kubrick doesn't show him as a very nice guy.
Also apparently another one of the reasons why, which is quite funny because it's actually Stephen King said that the Shining film, the book is meant to show a man becoming mad, but in the film Jack Nicholson is mad at the beginning. And I think that's more against Jack Nicholson than Stanley Kubrick.
Maybe. Yeah, but he didn't like Jack Nicholson anyway. He wanted is it Robert Duvall?
No, really?
There's who is it? Is that Robert Duvall in Jaws?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. But no, I think I don't think that's a bad choice. Because
Jack Nicholson in that movie, sort of.
Yeah, but you need someone who can play straight and unhinged.
Which Jack Nicholson can do.
Yeah, I don't think he really plays straight that often. Not that I've seen.
I think it's just the way he looks.
He's always a bit eccentric.
Yeah.
Like maybe like Dustin Hoffman or someone like.
You can mention Dustin Hoffman in The Shining.
Yeah, I can see it more than some other people.
But that's probably the reason why the transition from sanity to madness didn't work as well. Because Jack Nicholson generally is that sort of, because he appears unhinged from the offset, regardless of what.
And also, there's no redemption at the end either. That's the whole point. Is that at the end he saves Danny and he regains his humanity and sacrifices himself. Whereas in the film, he just anyway, shall we? Keep going.
Yeah. We said we need to fill up time.
We filled out a lot of time. I watched Greenberg on Saturday.
One of my favourite directors. One of my favourite films from my favourite directors.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it, but I found it. I got a bit bored of it eventually. I felt it's all very samey.
Yeah, not much happens.
No, that's very true.
It's all just leave you a little bit.
I think it could be better as like a short film, maybe like a half an hour kind of. Yeah, Ben Stiller's great.
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig's great. Yeah.
He's the director that I think brings out Greta Gerwig. I mean, obviously they are together. They're married and they're together, but he is able to sort of he gets her as an actress.
But then a lot of the films I've seen her in, I think she's very good anyway.
No, she is.
20th Century Woman, she's one of the best parts of that film.
But I don't think she would have been cast in that film if it wasn't for films like Frances Ha.
No, maybe not. But you can say that about any actor in their indie beginnings.
No, but that's what I mean. But because Greta Gerwig is sort of, she's hit fame quite. That as far as young actresses go, the old sort of quite older. She's sort of.
But then has she hit fame? She's
in the sort of circles. In the sort of circles that she's considered. That she wants to be considered in. She has. Yeah.
I'm sure she's had offers to be in big A-list.
I don't think so. I think she's
well, Brie Larson.
She reminds me.
I'd say they're sort of similar. Came from similar beginnings.
Brie Larson's a lot more wholesome.
No, I mean they come from similar beginnings. Yeah. Like this indie sort
of... But the characters that Brie Larson plays tend to be a lot more pure. But I do think Noah Baumbach really gets her in the same way that Woody Allen sort of really got Diane Keaton.
Oh yeah, because they're together. They can.
Yeah.
Sort of...
But like you get this sense that when Diane Keaton is in a Woody Allen film and sort of vice versa when Greta Gerwig's in a Noah Baumbach film, that they're sort of at home with an actress, and you get that with a lot of actors and directors.
Yeah, I think so.
When you see them when they're paired with a certain director, and they're just sort of they really sort of
yeah. Do you want to say another film?
Do you
want to say another film? That's terrible grammar.
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to talk about another film?
I mean, oh yeah, no, definitely. I saw on Sunday Sorcerer, which is the William Friedkin film, based on Wages of Fear. Which
is that the one he did immediately after The Exorcist?
Yeah.
Isn't that like one of the worst received films of all time? I thought
it's really well reviewed.
Was it?
Yeah. Its Metacritic is quite high, I know that. But its Metacritic is 68. 7.8 on IMDb. 7.8.
It's everything's 7.8 on IMDb.
It's a really good film. I think it's I mean, it's going to be compared to Wages of Fear, which, to be fair, is superior. But I think this sort of is at there are three films in William Friedkin's career which exemplify why, to me, he's one of the best action movie directors of all time. And that's French Connection, which is probably my favourite action movie ever made. That to me is the action movie to end all action movies. Everything that is we value action movies for is in the French Connection. I'm not exaggerating either.
No, I just remember you saying this before.
It's as perfect an action film.
Or maybe one where you can get me to watch it
then. Well, I mean, I don't want to have to make you to watch French Connection because it holds up. It really holds up. And the other one, To Live and Die in LA, which sort of really brought a lot of the themes of the French Connection forward into the, into this sort of neon-soaked, really sort of gritty Los Angeles. But this one really follows a group of guys who transport some cargo across Nicaragua, and they sort of descend into madness. But what is really sort of comes through here is the way that like Friedkin is. The one thing you notice about him is he is able to sort of immerse you in action in a way that a lot of directors can't do. Like his camera is an organic object; it sort of moves with the same sort of uncertainty that the audience has. And this film is also about a descent into madness, and the way he captures madness in this film is really quite clever, especially towards the end when it sort of gets a little bit more hallucinatory. But really good. Really, I'm really glad I got to see it as well because I haven't seen it. I've been meaning to see it in a while. I think it's one of those films that Letterboxd loves. Yeah, you get these films that sort of...
These really obscure films.
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
Yeah. It's one of those, and I'm a massive William Friedkin fan. I think William Friedkin is... I'm not sure he's underrated because he's sort of getting a reappraisal now. But yeah. No.
Well, he didn't work for ages, did he? At least not do many
work. His film Killer Joe as well, with McConaughey.
Oh, I want to see that. That's the film that sort of started the reconnaissance, wasn't it?
Yeah. But have you seen this thing about McConaughey now? Like, McConaughey needs another reconnaissance.
He's lost it again. Yeah, he hasn't made a good film since maybe 2015, 2014.
Yeah.
Maybe not since Interstellar. Because like that last...
Was that 2015? Was it
2014, yeah.
Maybe.
Was it the last State of Jones or something it was called, which was really bad.
Mud. Mud was 2015.
Mud was before Interstellar.
Was it?
Yeah, that was right at the beginning. That was before Dallas Buyers Club.
So Interstellar was McConaughey's last film. Oh yeah, no, Mud was 2012. What are you trying to say about the Dark Tower?
Yeah, Dark Tower's...
Have you seen it?
No. I don't plan to.
You might be right. I don't think he has been in a good film since.
No, I mean,
He's not been in many, to be fair.
No. Right, so the last film I've really seen this week, which I want to talk about, is saw Kingsman, The Golden Circle last night. It's not as good as the first one.
First of all, how highly do you rate the first one?
I watched it on Sunday last week, and I gave it 4 out of 5 out of 5.
4.5.
So quite highly,
yeah.
But not. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite films, even close to being one of my favourite films. But yeah, it's a well-made film. What about you? Would you say similar?
Oh, that sounds alright.
Yeah.
I mean, no, because it's a film of like peaks and troughs, and the peaks are really good, and the troughs you sort of just forget about when you leave the cinema. Because there's a lot of there's that bit between the murder in the church, which is incredible,
that's
bloody incredible. Yeah, incredible. And then the final scene, and then there's this whole clump of stuff that like you just forget about.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that in the first one. But I really like Matthew Vaughn. I think he's really talented.
He is very talented. Although this one, it's very, the peaks and troughs are a lot bigger. There's probably more troughs than peaks.
Oh, but, really?
Yeah. Well, at the end, the thing that on the first one, the thing that got a lot of complaints was the that anal sex joke, which no one really. It's sort of very sort of out of sync.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
It's very sort of like out of sync with the rest of the film. There's a lot more of sort of like shock humour and stuff like that.
This one?
Yeah, nothing to the same extent as that.
Is it more aimed at a comedy sort of angle, this one?
No, I feel it's more aimed at to kind of like disgust you and make you feel uneasy, and it's just kind of, it's more nonsensical. I mean, the last one's got like stupid and fun, but it had an eternal logic to it. This one is all sort of just thrown out the window and like.
How do the Americans fare?
Right, so you know how Channing Tatum is made out to be sort of like the secondary character in the film?
He's not.
He's 95% of his screen time is in the trailer. It's little more than a cameo, his role.
So he dies.
I guess either way now. I'm either going to spoil it or I'm going to ruin it.
Move on.
Yeah. He's put out of action for a lot of people. I'll say that one way or another. And then what else? There was something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, Julianne Moore, who I love. I think she's one of the best actors of her generation.
Totally.
Very badly cast in this film.
Really?
Just very sort of choose a scenery to, and that's what I like about Colin Firth. Is that it's this ridiculous route, but he plays like a very stoic kind of like.
Does he play James Bond in Kingsman?
Who, Colin?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he does to that extent. I think he's more gentleman than James Bond.
True.
He wouldn't have sex with like 12 women in one film.
What Bond is that?
Bond has sex with a widow after. Moments after her husband died.
Listen,
but yeah, anyway,
that's what has to be done.
But yeah, she's very sort of scenery chewing and very kind of like. I feel that because she's having so much fun, and you can see she's having so much fun, it makes it less fun for the audience.
She's having so much fun.
She's good.
Usually that translates quite well in films, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but I just feel. And it's kind of this. She's this ridiculous character in this ridiculous situation, and kind of her demands don't really make sense. I think the film's trying to be an anti-drugs film. I won't spoil what the plot is. It's like an anti-drugs kind of plot.
Really?
But it's so kind of like, you know those cheesy anti-drugs commercials you saw, like they would have like children TV characters and stuff. Like
seriously,
it sort of felt a bit like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And also, I don't think this is a spoiler. Elton John's in it. It's not like he plays Elton John. But it's not like a cameo. He's in more scenes than Channing Tatum.
Bloody hell.
He's like.
I just saw the trailers. I wasn't particularly excited about it.
See, I did. I liked the trailer. I thought the trailer looked quite good. Oh, and also I don't know if the budget's lower, but some of the action sequences are very badly CGI'd.
I thought the budget would be higher, wouldn't it?
I think it probably is higher. But like the opening fight sequence is so. Maybe it's just the way the camera moves, but like the CGI is very obvious.
Oh really?
And like, it feels very sort of cartoony. Cartoon is in not sort of style, as in like the standard.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Also disappointing them.
It's good, but it's not great.
Right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still fun, and it's still.
Does it retain a lot of the things that made it good? The first one's so good.
Yeah, kind of. There's also other things I didn't like, which I can't really say because it'll spoil the film.
Okay.
But yeah, it's roughly the same tone, but it does. Yeah, to its credit, it does try and do something different, but I don't know if it pays off entirely.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or shall we get to the main event?
I've actually watched 3 more films to talk about.
Well, we've almost finished the podcast now, so.
I mean, look, listen, it's been a busy week for films.
Do you want to keep going then?
Yeah, I watched. I had a monumental trip to the BFI this week. I watched a 3-hour, 20-minute documentary about French cinema. My Journey Through French Cinema by Bertrand Tavernier. Who
was it an English language documentary?
Directed Life and Nothing But. No, it's French. And it's just. It reminds me of
watch it for a 3-hour and 20-minute subtitled film about.
Yeah, listen, it was. I did have a headache afterwards, actually. I've not been in a cinema that long. I don't think I've ever been in a cinema that long. How long was Avatar?
So it's about 3 hours or so.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I've only been in for 3 hours, probably not more.
But this was sort of very detailed and literary in style. This documentary was like he gets technical about a lot of things, but he essentially is like Martin Scorsese's journey through American cinema, where he does it's very personal, so it doesn't claim to be objective. And he starts off with Jacques Becker, which is the first film that he remembers sort of eliciting a love for cinema in him, and then he moves through his biographical details about how he ended up working for Paris, Rome, and worked under Jean-Pierre Melville. And it sort of traces that through like composers, directors, looks at like films in such sort of affectionate way that really brings them back to life. And a lot of films that maybe loads of films that I haven't heard about, but like literally like no idea. But he has like actors. He talks about Jean Gabin a lot, like who's a sort of really interesting actor. And then obviously he goes over the French New Wave as well, but in a way that's quite different to a lot of what's been. There's that documentary on Netflix, I'm not sure if it's still there, called Two in the Wave about Godard and Truffaut, the two sort of leading lights of the French New Wave.
Is there anything else, any other films you see?
I watched, which I was talking about briefly, Things to Come, a film about a philosophy teacher. Yes. whose life starts to basically fall apart when her husband says that he's leaving her. Is played by Isabelle Huppert. Fantastic again, absolutely fantastic.
Your celebrity crush.
Yeah, I mean, like,
is it
above
French,
the age of 50.
Or is it
It's French.
It's
French. But she's fantastic, and the film's brilliant. It's directed by Mia Hansen-Love, who directed one of my favourite films from 2015, Eden, which is about a DJ who sort of goes through the ranks of becoming a DJ, ends up like sort of getting addicted to drugs and whatnot. But it's just done like with such a humanism and like absolutely brilliant. It's a film I've been wanting to watch for a while, and yeah, fantastic. Things to come. Yeah, really, really good. And Borg McEnroe as well, which we touched on.
About a bit.
It should be called Borg, not Borg McEnroe. I mean, it's just all about Beyond Borg, and it's really navel gazing, and it's like a lot of it's quite boring, apart from the last half an hour when they actually get into the tennis, and that's quite exhilarating. So I didn't actually know the result. I was unsure about who won the 1980 Wimbledon final. I thought I did, but the film was able to make me doubt that, which...
It's Borg, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Borg, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
But it made me doubt that. I thought it was Borg, but I didn't know it for sure. But it made me doubt it because of how well they did the tennis. Shia LaBeouf, which I saw on Letterboxd, which is quite funny, apparently looks like the grandson of the other Tenenbaum from Royal Tenenbaums, more than he does John McEnroe, but actually
doesn't look anything like John McEnroe.
No.
Having said that, John McEnroe today doesn't look anything like John McEnroe.
No, true. But really puts in a shift. Really good performance. And the guy who plays Borg is good. But yeah, Borg's biography is actually that interesting. And it's not made to look that interesting either. Stellan Skarsgård's pretty good in the film as his mentor.
Stellan Skarsgård's in it as well.
Yeah, and it starts off really sort of like looking into what Borg was like as a child and how he was sort of a bit of a rebel and a temper, and then makes this leap from him being 15 years old and winning game like winning US Open or something like that.
I think the problem
it's really sort of it just doesn't really match up very well, and you do get a little bit about McEnroe, just barely anything. You don't need a math genius.
That's it. But then McEnroe, everyone knows about McEnroe anyway. So
and everyone knows about Borg.
Yeah. I think the problem with these documentaries, biopics that centre around one event, is that the event itself is very interesting to see, but then all the stuff around it is often just filler and not.
I see, which
like Sully. Have you seen Sully?
No, I'm not going to.
The bit before the plane crash is like him going to the airport, talking to his wife, going to a bar, running, and that's like half an hour of the film. But
this is something. This is actually an event that is a sort of culmination rather than that, which is just sort of an isolated event, I think. Because this actually does represent something quite significant for Borg and something significant for McEnroe as well. Because this is when he really apparently arrived on the world scene as a sort of real. Because most pundits would tell you that McEnroe was the most talented player of all time. He just couldn't keep certain personal aspects of his game under wraps. That seems to me more interesting than Borg the Robot, which it's co-funded by the Swedish Film Institute as well. So and it's not. I couldn't imagine it doing well at the festival crowd either.
I can't imagine it doing well full stop.
I know, because I think I imagine it would do. Like, it's got that nostalgia factor with it.
It's not been made by a big studio. It hasn't really got the financial backing behind it. Hasn't got any big stars. It just seems a bit kind of.
I think
somehow managed to get this big distribution.
Maybe a lot of people look back quite fondly on those days of tennis, and I think that's who was going to know.
But then why couldn't they get some bigger stars too?
To be fair to the guy who played Borg, his name escapes me. Very good.
That's Alexander's star.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No. It's a new acting team, but he is very good. And my dad, who I went to see it with, because someone couldn't make it, and I had to get some late notice.
I told you I couldn't make it. As soon as you asked me.
No, it's okay. My dad was like, yeah, he looks exactly like Borg. Really looks like Borg.
Yeah.
And he was obviously,
and he was good as well.
Yeah.
If a lot of biopics look a lot like them, and they're crap in there.
Shia LaBeouf, very good. Borg is played by Severa Goodnassel.
Right, so shall we get on to our main feature then?
Yeah,
last week I said it was 2010, but it's actually 2008. Documentary, Dear Zachary, by Kurt Kuhn. I think you pronounced his name.
Okay.
But it was done after his best friend was killed, and then he decided to make. He's a filmmaker anyway. He decided to make this documentary. It wasn't originally going to be distributed. It was really just for his the unborn son of his best friend who was killed, to sort of tell him about his dad. And so the filmmaker Q just sort of travels the country and the world. Actually, he goes to the UK as well to sort of find out what other people thought of his dad. And then over the course of the film, as because of the trial of the killers going on at the same time, and as the film progresses, things change in it. Yeah, I feel we should. Last week we didn't do non-spoilers and spoilers. We just
say spoilers from
jumped
now.
in.
Spoilers.
All right, spoilers from now on.
This is difficult to talk about without spoiling it.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Why did you choose this film?
Why did I choose this film? I chose it because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I thought it'd make interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different to any film I've seen before.
Is it your favourite documentary of all time?
No.
Okay.
But it is. What do you think of it? Before I give my opinion.
I liked it a lot. Yeah. I liked it. I did like it.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that the story is so bizarre in itself that it needs to be told.
I mean, like's a weird word because, like, I don't know if you say you like.
Yeah, and this is my problem with it, which I'll get onto it later. But it's a story that's so sort of bizarre that it has to be put to film, and it's just so sort of almost ready-made for a documentary filmmaker to sort of come in and
I mean, it was a completely unknown story for me, and I'm sure it probably was for you. But it was like national news in America and Canada.
Yeah, no,
so probably if if you're coming from over there, you probably know what's going on quicker. But at the same time, I don't know if you know much about Andrew, or you certainly won't know about Kurt. No. So it's probably only later on you realise what it's actually about. It's certainly, it's very well made. Like, it's got a very sort of well constructed narrative.
This is my problem with it. I think, and I saw a review of this film, which was really just hit the nail on the head. It was like, I think this film would have had more of an emotional impact if it wasn't so focused on trying to elicit one. It's a horrible story, but it's so intent on hammering the emotion down aggressively and like excessively with all these sort of super cuts to indicate.
I don't think it's trying to do that. I mean, it's his best. It's about his best friend and his killer, and I don't think that man could have made it any other way.
And that's right, because it does from the outset. It doesn't claim to be objective. It's definitely a subjective film. It's a subjective, very personal film. But I do think a lot of the way that it tries to convey the emotional impact of what this had would have been better served with a little bit more subtlety. It sort of becomes a little bit MTV at times. Like, you know, when they find out the news, and we are going into spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When we find out the news that Zachary was killed, and we get the news, it's like a bloody horror movie trailer. Like,
there's a jump scare.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a real sort of MTV reality TV way of acting.
Yeah, I did that bit. I don't.
Yeah, I really didn't like that. It's a very sort of MTV way of sort of just forcing impact. Yeah. I think if it maybe held the brakes back a little bit, I would have, just some breathing space. I mean, it did this thing a lot of the time when it would, it'd get a lot of talking heads talking about one person. And it would sort of just have them all cutting into each other and like just really quickly.
But I quite like that because it sort of shows how, particularly when they talk about Andrew, sort of like how big his sphere of friends and like. I
liked it the first two times. The following they did it a lot.
It did do it a lot.
I think that's what I think. I really like, because the thing is, this film is obviously, at its core, is just an incredibly heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
Like, it's just devastating.
But I do think, like, you say it should be... Are you saying it should be less personal? Or is that not
No. I'm saying that it should be...
It should be just held back at times.
Held back, yes, and also just sort of told with a little bit more... I think it should have... held back is probably the best way of putting it.
But I like the bits where... I think it's impactful. Like, the bits where Kurt's explaining... particularly about Zachary's death, and also I think you can sort of sense it a bit with Andrew's death. Like, you can hear the emotion in his voice and that he's trying to hold back.
Oh, yeah. No,
I think that's quite impactful.
Yeah, the film is tremendously impactful. I do think he's a good filmmaker. Well, I mean, like, because the 2/3 in the film, it sort of becomes a little bit of a polemic against the justice system, doesn't it? Because of what happened. Yeah. I think that's a little bit misled. I don't think
you could tell it any other way. Because
I agree.
When you see the report at the end, and the report's conclusion is that if the justice system was better, then...
No, I agree. I do think there's definitely a case, I'm not saying there isn't, to be made against the justice system and how it acted in this particular instance.
Yeah.
If you're going to argue that case, though, do it in a way that is not sort of half-hearted. Not half-hearted, but I mean, it comes across very rushed at the end.
But there's so many different kind of like... It has its hands in
and
pies.
That part falls victim to that way of telling the story.
Yeah.
Because the story, it doesn't go from A to B, doesn't it? It goes from A to A.12345 and then to B.
Yeah.
And it dots around before it gets to the conclusion of the point it's made.
Yeah, because he wants to tell the personal story and the political story.
Yeah, because those two gets too intertwined, it can almost be a little bit.
But at the same time, it's about this. I'll get more into this, who it's about later. But like this couple who have to be around their son's killer to see the child that they should have custody of.
And I don't think he did that enough. I don't think
you could have talked about that without talking about the politics of why that happened.
But he didn't talk about it. He did the politics a disservice. There's a problem because he sets his stall out as being a very personal story. He immediately it begins to mar the more political argument that he's making, in that it sort of takes a turn into being a broader point about society not acting in the interest. Because there's that quote from his dad which says basically, I trusted the justice system to do their job and they didn't. Which, okay, is definitely the angles that it was headed at towards the end. It just didn't substantiate that enough.
No.
It was still done through this sort of personal outlook, which became more emotional than anything, which I understand. It's obviously a very emotional thing, but the way that if you're going to go in that political direction, there needs to be some sort of clarity in what it is that actually happened, which I don't think it does very well, because it's so haphazard in telling the final stages of what happened that you sort of lose track of what's happening here, and it condenses it into such a small space of time that
So you think it should have been longer?
Yeah, definitely. Well, not longer, but there are some parts of it. Why did we go to England?
Well, I suppose again,
Why
just to show his severe of influence.
I understand Andrew was a nice, ordinary guy, but he was an ordinary guy.
Yeah.
You know, the more the meat of the story is really for me is in this character of Shirley.
Yeah.
And she's the omen hanging behind all of it. But I think it would have, and I understand the reason why it wasn't.
But I don't think I could watch that documentary. That would, because I feel she shouldn't. For what this is a problem I have with the film, is that not really a problem, because what she did kind of speaks for herself. But it's clear she's mentally ill and very kind of troubled woman. You get he says as well that she had other kids and didn't want anything to do with them. And
it's exactly.
And the fact that she ended up repeating, before she killed Zachary in the South, she ended up repeating this obsessive behaviour she had with Andrew with this other guy. Sort of shows you very troubled, but it doesn't give her a voice. Obviously, she can't make her a voice because she's dead, but you don't really see a doctor talk about her.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, exactly. That's a real problem. And why does it? This is what I was just getting at, which is that basically it does say a lot about Andrew. And this is what's really harsh. He was an ordinary bloke. More interesting. And as far as I understand that he meant a lot to a lot of people, but that's not to say he means a lot to a general audience. I mean, I guess we can resonate. He not? We can resonate. We can resonate with the fact that he could just be one of our friends, and that this could just generally be someone that we know. I understand that, but you didn't have to go on for 40 minutes about him.
That's what I didn't
have to know.
I like the fact that it is kind of. Half of it's just this eulogy to Andrew. I feel that's kind of...
No, but it repeats a lot of the same things about him. Yes, he was funny. Yes, he wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But no need to take me into the surgery and speak to every member of staff about him. I understand that. And I know the documentary's not meant to be balanced. It's arguing a point.
Yeah.
But I think if you really want to understand what happened, which I left this documentary not understanding what happened.
How did you?
You have to understand. You have to understand Shirley, like you say.
Yeah.
You have to understand that like you say, get a doctor and talk about these mental problems that she was having, and because she does occupy this odd role in that she is clearly hated by everyone in the film.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Her whole character gets reduced. I say character in a metaphorical sense, right?
And also, there's this more concerning point about the complacency of the family, and obviously he's not going to really adjust the complacency of Andrew's friends and family.
In what sense?
In hindsight, they all Shirley, she was not good for Andrew. Andrew openly, there's a point in the first half an hour. Andrew openly spoke about how Shirley was this and that, and how she pestered him and all of this. Okay. Did you not think to sort of,
Well, you do get the doctor, who when Shirley turns up at Andrew's house at 5 a.m, he does say she's clearly a psychopath, you've got to get out of there.
But he doesn't do enough, does he, clearly?
No, but I think it's very... You say in retrospect, it's very easy to say this.
And we can all be caught by it.
It's very easy for you to say that as well. Because you don't know how you'd react if it was me or someone else.
Very true. But I think it doesn't consider a lot of the contingencies that come with this case that I think would have made it a more interesting documentary.
I do.
What was the sort of... If it looked more into the sort of sociopathic nature of what happened. Yeah. And I understand it is when it gets a lot more harrowing. But I mean, it's pretty harrowing as it is. It's not a nice story.
But perhaps some of that is that he couldn't get those interviews, or he couldn't. But he made it too close off the event for it to, for you to get the bigger picture. It's like he tries to contact the judges and the judges and a few of the other people, and they wouldn't talk to him.
Yeah.
So, but you do get a bit of that, like how, when she goes to prison, you get the report saying that she stabbed another inmate with a knife. And so you do get.
I think this is because it's such a flurry of accounts of personal accounts of people in the documentary and stories. I just sort of left it a little bit left watching that documentary like a little bit empty. I was just like, what do I actually appreciate about? Because I think there are documentaries which tell stories, and one documentary that comes to mind, which is quite similar to, is Capturing the Freedmans, which is about a family whose father is accused of being a paedophile, and it's again a really personal story, not told by someone in a connection.
Was it like similar in tone to this?
Yeah, whilst that one interrogates the notion of truth in the family, this one sort of interrogates grief.
So I feel this is. I've never seen a documentary like this, which is so fast paced and kind of like a thriller in it.
It's just a bit. It's just a bit empty because I don't think because I think even like Catching the Freedman, I have no sort of, I don't learn anything from it. No, apart from obviously the bare facts of what is the documentary about and the case. And with this one, I don't really learn anything about it. But with those documentaries that you don't tend to learn much about, you usually leave with an impression of you appreciate it, or it holds a certain it holds a certain merit. And with this one, and it doesn't really have
shocked or.
I was shocked, but again, it's the excessiveness.
You must have had sympathy for sympathy for his parents.
Of course, of course.
Let's go on to the parents, because I was going to ask you I was going to say that the film starts off with to use a vulgar film term, with Zachary as a MacGuffin. It's not very pleasant.
Well, how are the parents able to talk about it?
Yeah, well, it's the whole film's about him, and Kurt's making the film for him, and he asks everyone, "What have you got to say to Zachary?" And then and the film admits this as well. After we learn that Zachary died, you find out that he was he wasn't the protagonist. Is probably a better word.
He wasn't the subject.
It's the parents, because it's about. And actually, I think there should have been more focus on the parents as well as because they're strong.
But this is just what the film does. This is what the film does throughout the whole thing. It's trying to maximise its emotional impact. It really wants. It's intent on smacking around the face with its content. But this is what I don't like about it. It's actually quite manipulative, and in the way that it's made. And it's a sad story. There are many sad stories, but the sadness will convey itself naturally. You don't need to pummel it, which it does.
Yes.
He's grief-stricken, and I understand his reasoning for travelling across the country. Bear in mind
that he was never going to make the documentary you wanted to make, because it wasn't going to be distributed. It was just going to be about Andrew, and that's why there's so much stuff about Andrew, because that was the film he was going to make to start with.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So it originally started that he was. It tells you this as the film goes on. That it was originally before he knew about Zachary. He made that film just so he could find out about his friend, and then it became so that Zachary could find out about his father. And then as all this stuff with Zachary and the custody and stuff went along, I don't know if he had that in retrospect or after Zachary died, he decided to distribute it, and release it publicly. But so you've obviously still got to have some of that original film that he was going to make.
No, definitely, I understand that, but I did think it was a good documentary. I think it just sort of my overall impression of it is that this is a film that really wants to make you cry.
So I don't. I think it wants to make you angry. I don't think it wants to make you cry.
Angry as well. It wants to make you feel something, and it really, really sort of goes to bat on that. And it comes, and the way that it does it is quite cheap. I think it could be more impactful and more just a better film if it just sort of.
No, I feel that
took a step back.
Like, I feel they should be more focused on Shirley, like we said, but also on Andrew's parents, because I feel their story is sort of more extraordinary than even hers, because like they had their son die, and then they had this glimmer of hope that there's some sort of legacy in their son's death, and then that ends as well. And then they still kept fighting, and kept going. And I think
that's
there are sort of snippets of like, it doesn't eulogise them because they're still alive. But in the same way he eulogises Andrew, they say like stuff about them throughout the film. But I feel perhaps Andrew could have easily been sort of like a secondary figure in it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, definitely.
But then he was never going to be, just because that's the relationship Kurt had with him in the film was really going to make this up.
Well, no, I think they could have made that clear without having to, spend time on him.
But I just mean you couldn't have Kurt make that film because that was never what his aims were.
I think his aims would have been made clear once ultimately he released it to the general public, so he must have some idea. And documentaries, considering what he did, he would have had a hell of a lot of footage. He obviously wanted to make it in a certain way for the public anyway.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, maybe the story you want was already in the news and the public consciousness anyway, so making
I think that if we're going to view it purely in terms of being a documentary as a sort of film, then that should be irrelevant.
Yes, but
documentaries are like so difficult to assess because different. This is very different to another documentary of mine is The Imposter. Have you seen that?
Don't think so.
It's on Netflix, I think. But it's a document. It plays its revelations like poker hands. It's got the card the closest to the chest, and it reveals them one after the other. And it does this to sort of build on an underlying thesis that this film is clearly trying to make, which it does.
Yeah.
Just the sort of plight of parents who can't. This might be another problem. There is an underlying thesis. What is it? If there is one, because it's obviously it's aiming to it's revealing certain things about this story as it moves forward. But what is its point? What point is it trying to make?
The justice system's broken.
Maybe,
but I think I'd say so, and I think it's a credit to the film that the justice system has so little focus, and yet you still get that message through how it's portrayed the families and stuff. Because it's like, is it Andrew's dad that says, or is it, I can't remember, maybe it's Kurt, someone says that Andrew was killed by Shirley. It was his dad. Andrew was killed by Shirley, but it was a Canadian justice system that killed Zachary.
I just don't think it really drives that point home effectively.
But then I don't know how far.
Because this is the thing: if we're gonna isolate it from its bearing to how much of a sensational story this was, it just doesn't. It's a good. It can't stand amongst those truly sort of It's not a top doc. It's a good documentary. It's not a top documentary. Yeah. It's like a TV documentary. It's like a really good documentary you're likely to come across on TV.
No, I think that's discredit. I think it's very.
You'd go to the cinema to see this.
I wouldn't really go to the cinema to watch a documentary at all.
I think there's some, but it's not a top tier documentary for me.
No, well, it didn't win any awards or anything.
Actor Killing didn't win. 10 Feet from Stardom won the Oscar instead of Actor Killing. Not awards have no bearing.
No, but Jamie, this is a point that's just it doesn't need to be made. But I think. Did you not think the ending was kind of like bittersweet? That like you still had that element of hope at the end.
This is the thing. The ending confused me. It was trying to do so many different things in such a short space of time, and I think mainly to suit the sort of haphazard structure which you spoke about earlier. It dots around from person to person, place to place to make some sort of one point. That point they made at the end, beyond what it was trying to say about the justice system, was unclear and actually quite poorly made. I really think I understand that it didn't go into talking about Shirley that much, but it really.
You should have talked about the justice system.
Justice system and Shirley. Well, because Shirley is, in a way, the most intriguing. Intriguing is maybe the wrong word to use, but the most mysterious part of this whole equation.
Yeah, but she's also kind of disgusting. Like,
she is. She's awful. She's awful, but
it would make me feel ill if I had to watch. Like, I mean,
she's awful.
She looks like a horrible person.
She's awful, but we need. But it would be interesting to really get into more detail about why Andrew got to know how Andrew got to know.
Yeah, maybe.
2, also, hear more about her from her kids. She's got 3 kids that are alive, and one of them's at the end.
But perhaps they didn't want to be interviewed.
One of them was the clip from one of the kids was from a TV interview. Anyway, that probably would have been the case, but I think it would be really interesting. Would really sort of flesh out the stories more if we really got an insight into this woman's mind.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, I still like the fact that it's sort of from a backseat perspective. Yeah. So every time you heard her voice, like my skin crawled and like seeing. But
this is.
I don't think you can focus on her too much and be that appealing to watch.
But the best documentaries for me are the ones that confront that head on.
Yeah,
that really look at evil in the eye.
But I think you can confront it head on without being. I think you can confront it head on without there being, without you feeling uncomfortable about it. Although there's a difference between feeling uncomfortable. You can feel uncomfortable a bit. I think this you must have felt a bit uncomfortable.
A lot of people was uncomfortable.
But I feel if it was all about Shirley, I couldn't watch it just because it'll be so. You could have 5 minutes of being uncomfortable, but a whole 90-minute film.
I'm not saying make it all about Shirley.
Yeah.
Just sort of. It's quite uneven.
I think perhaps bring the focus away from Andrew and more on David and Kate and have bits about.
Yeah, there are lots of these stories.
Do you want me to tell you what's happened after the film? It's not really.
I saw a video on YouTube actually. I wasn't going to watch
it. There's a sequel. Yeah, there's a he made a sequel. Which is like I haven't seen it yet. It's like 14 minutes long. So. But there is a law in Canada now called Zachary's law, which sort of prevents this.
That's good
thing. Which probably.
I mean, you do have to think, and it really is another thing the film doesn't really interrogate. How did this happen?
Yeah,
and it doesn't. It just says it happened. But it doesn't sort of go.
It doesn't say why.
And that is a real. That also would have been interesting though. Like how, you're told that she sort of murdered Zachary and now she's allowed to sort of have some partial custody of her. How does that happen?
Well, it's like you get these moments where like that judge, the female judge, because there's 2 judges, a male one and a female one. The female one says, "I'll let you go, but you've got to promise not to, do anything bad." And she actually says. But they keep bringing this bit up, like where they says that even if she is a danger to society, her actions were very focused. She's killed, basically saying she's killed the person she wants to kill, so she's not going to kill anyone else.
Someone just explain that law. They have it in a lot of documentaries where there'll be something quite contentious in the law, and they'll just get an independent lawyer to sort of just talk about the law. In layman terms, just to sort of spell it out for a general audience, which is always quite useful.
Yeah, I think. Right, is there anything else you want to say, or shall we get on to ratings?
No, not really. No.
So do you want to say the rating system again?
So
I'll remember it one day.
Contain Mild Peril rating system.
Yeah.
Is expectation. It's out of 5. Experience, just a general sort of rating, and retrospectively. What your rating is. So my expectation level is about 3. I mean, I saw the plot synopsis, so I wouldn't say I was excited to watch it. It's quite a grim subject matter. So the film,
Yeah, it's like you can't really say you liked it because it feels a bit disrespectful to say you liked it.
What about you?
I would say, when I first came across it, I was just browsing through Netflix and I saw it. I was like. Yeah, I'll give this a go. So probably about 3 as well, just because I had no expectation really. Would that be a 0 then, or would 0 be negative?
I said 3.
But if you have no expectation,
in that I knew 3. It was a good. In that it's quite well reviewed.
Yeah.
That I sort of had, I had some expectation of it being a good film. So you've recommended it to me, so that immediately makes me think, this could be quite good.
But then I've recommended films before which you haven't shared.
No, but I mean, there's a certain stock you put in. Someone recommends you a film, regardless of whether or not you end up liking it or not.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose in anticipation maybe. But yeah, so what was your rating during the film?
3.5.
3.5.
I gave it 3.5.
So it did get better. It was better than you thought, even if it not quite much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Definitely, yeah. It was a good documentary. I think it is a good documentary, and it really impactful as well. It's quite, it's a really affecting, powerful documentary.
I'll probably say 4.5.
4.5.
Pretty much for the same reason. Yeah, during the film, I say 4.5 definitely because I didn't haven't seen it I think this is the third time I watched it because I watched it with my parents after I first watched it. I can sort of see the twist to use another vulgar term coming you could see it build up. But the first time I watched it, because I didn't know it was happening, I couldn't really see it. I thought it was gonna go in a different direction, but I never anticipated that it would go in that direction.
Okay. And retrospectively, I would probably give it the same. I mean, a lot of the things that I found quite positive about the film when I was watching it remain the same.
Have you looked anything up afterwards, or
no?
No,
it's not compelled me to do that.
No, fair enough. I'll probably say 4 in retrospect because, particularly now, a lot of the points you made are quite valid, and I
just
agree
think
with them.
that
But I still like it.
Yeah, no, I do like it.
Did you? Actually, this is the point. Just talking about what I was saying earlier. Could you see the twist coming?
Halfway through I thought there something was going to happen.
Something was going to,
Because you would think that the story would have ended with... If it was just about the murder of Zachary, it would have ended with them sort of... with this open-ended sort of really weird coexistence.
You mean Andrew?
Between the parents and...
you mean Andrew, not Zachary?
No, Andrew's parents.
No, you mean that if it was the death of Zachary, death of Andrew or something. Yeah.
But then you knew that from then on. But good.
Okay. So we're not going to do news this week because there's not much, and we've already spoken for.
There's really not much. There's really not much. We went through all these sort of headlines.
Yeah, we did look quite thoroughly. But no. So do you want to reveal what we're going to be watching next
Yes. We are going to watch.
Do you want to say why first?
Okay. So first of all, it's a filmmaker that I think you might have seen one of the films that he's made. But this is the filmmaker that I've spoken to you about before a while ago, who is an absolute modern day master of film. He is a director that if you want to make if someone tells you cinema's dead,
so you're going to say if you want to make pornography.
Got it
on the brain.
You've got it on the brain, mate.
I'm not the one that's watching.
If you want to sort of if you want to talk about why film is still alive and brilliant today, then you look at this guy. I mean, there's he's one of the only 3 filmmakers to have won the Palme d'Or twice.
Okay, I'm trying to think of people.
Yeah, no, I'm introducing it like a special guest.
Yeah,
and he has made.
Do you want to tell me who the filmmaker is first, and I'll see if I can guess.
Yeah, Michael Haneke.
Okay.
And he's made 4 films I've seen.
So what's the film of his I've already seen?
Have you seen it more?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I film I've seen another one of his films as well.
What one?
I can't remember. Maybe I haven't. No, I swear.
Funny Games, maybe?
No, I don't know. Tell me what we're watching.
We're watching Cache.
Okay.
Hidden, which is the film about a married couple who gets sent videotapes by a mysterious person. And this is a film that I watched it for the first time. Actually, I watched it this year, a while ago, maybe in February or something. Absolutely blew it away.
What
is this a film?
What genre is it? Because what you told me, it could be a horror film, or it could be like a comedy or drama.
What one?
Just describing this film that this couple.
It's a psychological thriller. I think maybe it's one of it just sort of exists, but it's just a phenomenal. It's a hell of an experience.
It's French, right?
yeah.
Well, I know it's French, it's not. It could be in English. No, I was just saying that because this is going to be our first.
This is French
language. This will be our first foreign language film. Yeah.
What a way to go. I think I really enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And also, there's a lot of theories to be had about this film that still are unresolved.
I'll do some reading as well.
And Michael Haneke do the reading after you watch the film.
Yeah,
Michael Haneke is a filmmaker that absolutely loves the sort of unclear notion of truth, and like really fucks with you, or with regards to that relation.
Well, I've been fucked with, so...
No, but that is his cinema. That is... And it's his other film, the film with the Palme d'Or. Did this one part of the Palme d'Or? I think it's this one. No, White Ribbon and Amour. I think...
See, Amour I wouldn't really say fucks with you.
No, that's a lot more tender.
Yeah.
But Funny Games messes with you. This messes with you. The White Ribbon is one of... Which I would have recommended otherwise, had it not been... I don't think you would have liked it.
Okay.
But... The White Ribbon is staggering film. But this, Cachet, also known as Hidden, for some reason, I don't know why that is, but it's got two titles in English, Hidden and Cachet.
Could it be American and British or something?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, see how that goes, I guess. Alright.
Yeah. Alright, so, do the housekeeping, I guess.
Yeah.
You can email us at mildperilpod@gmail.com. So far, no one has, besides the occasional message from like SoundCloud or Photoshop or something. You can follow us on Twitter at MildPerilPC. You can follow Arun on Twitter at... Remind me, what is it?
Arun Kakar1.
Arun Kakar1.
I'm still in the process of setting.
You can follow me at Jack and Shit. And that's also the name of my Letterboxd account. And yours is Kakar.
Arun, I think, yeah.
And is that everything?
That is everything.
Oh, and YouTube. We're on YouTube. If you're not listening to us on YouTube, then on YouTube, there's no nice, concise... the name of the channel to make Contain Mild Peril, obviously, but there's no nice, concise link I can give you. So I'll just put it in the description below. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Well, have we got a sign-off? Have we come up... Is there anything that stood out this episode that you think we can...
I know. No, that would be a little bit tough.
One episode we'll find of sign-off, actually.
Yeah. No, we'll find a one for Cachet, definitely.
Yeah. Alright. So that'll be a bit disturbing, potentially.
Yeah, no.
But, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.